Hey guys, so if I did a video for IPOs that did not go so well, for IPOs that have dropped, for IPOs that are much lower than where they were before, this video is all about IPOs that have gone well, IPOs that have gone up, IPOs that are much higher now than their IPO price. Check this video out. Hi everyone, this is Marvin Germon. I make daily videos on the stock market. So if you're new to this channel, subscribe, smash that bell so you get updated every time I create new content about the stock market. And also wait until the end so you see who our subscriber of the day is. Okay guys, so this is a follow-on video based on the video that I created a few days ago where I talked about stocks that have dropped after the IPO. Now I'm gonna talk about the stocks that have gone well as well, and you will see the common denominator about stocks that have pushed up, gone up, and are much better than where they were before. So the entire goal of this video is to give you the right insights so that you get to trade the markets with confidence, so that also when IPOs come out, you just don't buy them just because they're an IPO, but you come in looking at the numbers, you come in based on what the data is telling you, so that you don't just generalize that people think IPOs are always cheap, IPOs are always low, that they start to go up as well. And on the flip side also, you don't also generalize that, hey, IPOs don't actually do so well. At the end of the day, it will all go back to what you're buying. And I hope this video also gives you the right insight so that you can trade the markets with confidence as well. Hey guys, so this is our ongoing coverage of the IPOs that's coming. So the reason why I'm posting a lot of IPO videos is primarily because we have one of the most IPOs that we've ever seen in the past 5, 6, 7 years, and this gives you somehow I'm making more content so that you guys can make this a reference point as well. Don't just remember the specific examples, use the principles behind it so that later on when there's more IPOs that will come out, more IPOs will be rolled out, at least you have the principles and the ideologies already so you can replicate it, so that you don't have to memorize which stock is good or bad. Please remember, if you're trying to memorize what stock is good or bad, that's where it won't really work for you, because each stock is different. Each stock is it doesn't go and move in the same way as as what most people believe it will be. And this video is part 2, coming from the first video where I talked about stocks that have dropped massively as well. Please remember this, the point of the first video was to dispel misconceptions that when you invest in the stock market, especially during IPOs, people always say it's cheap, people always say it's the lowest time to buy, people always say that stocks never go lower than the IPO price, or it always goes back up after the IPO. Based on what I showed you from the previous video, you all saw that that was a misconception, that there's more stocks actually from this measurement period that I'm showing you that have dropped as compared to the ones that have gone up, because the name of the game still is you need to buy stocks that are good, that are growing, and are reasonably cheap as well. And on top of that also, that's why I've been placing a large preference on the proceeds of the IPO, because where the money is going, where the proceeds are going, will determine also the direction of how big they can make the company go as well. And this second part also is coming from most of your questions. A lot of you guys were asking, can you show me IPOs that have gone up? Can you show me companies that were successful after a stretch period of time? Please remember this also, as much as a lot of people want to forecast if stocks will go up exactly on the IPO day, no one really knows if it will go up, but we can follow the same exact principles that I've mentioned in the previous videos, that the stocks that are smaller normally have a larger shot to go up as compared to the stocks that are bigger. And when I say smaller, it's not about the price, it's about the amount of money that gets raised during the IPO date as well. So comment below at any point in time if you are learning from this. Comment IPO if you're learning. Comment also the stock that you probably want to buy as well after this IPO. Please remember, we have this 6 IPOs for the year. We've already had 1. Then Axelum is already on its offering period. All Home will be next. Then you will have Frutas, then Calcomp, and the hospital unit of MPI coming at the latter portion of the year as well. So it's nice to see and at least have an ideology of which will do better or not. And again, just a quick plug, for those who've been asking for the events. The next set of Stock Smart sessions will be in October 2 to 6 in Qatar. Then when I get back, I'm actually flying also to Malaysia, but it won't be under the Stock Smarts brand, but I'll be in Malaysia in the second week of October. Then after that, I'll be in Cebu October 26 to 27, then Stock Smart Singapore November 6 to 10, then Icon Davao November 30. Then we're gonna finish everything off this November and December with Stock Smarts Manila, followed by another year-end event that I normally do, the top 10 stocks for 2020. So let's get on it. By the way, the way I'm gonna do it is also similar to the way I did it for the worst stocks that have dropped after IPO, years after the IPO. I'm gonna rank them also. This one naman will be based on the gains, so you can expect the one with the largest gains to be at the last part, and the one who has the smallest type of gains will be the first part. Also, the measurement period for all of this will be basically from 2011 to 2019, because there's more IPOs on those period of time as compared to the years prior to it. Then also I'm just gonna show you the highest point of which the stock hit, but we're gonna compare it from the date of IPO to the current date. So today is September 25, so the price point here is from the closing of September 25, 2019. So it could possibly mean also that the stock hit a much higher price but has started to correct. Can you guess which do you think is the stock that has the highest that hit the highest price point over the past 8 years, that had the highest percentage? Comment them below, and I'd like to see if you could guess it right. So first one on the list that did well over this period is RRHI, Robinson's Retail Holdings. For those who don't know what RRHI is, it's pretty much right smack in the middle of consumption. It's supermarkets, hardwares, department stores, drug stores, and convenience stores as well. The IPO was 2013, the price was 58. It reached a high of 104. I remember going in Bloomberg talking about the breakout of this. This was, I think, just more than a year ago already, especially way before way either at the heat of the train law being about to be passed. Then after that already, the stock started to correct, and it hasn't gone back to the highs of 104.23 pesos per share. So as of the closing, it's at 78 pesos per share. If you held it from 2013 up until today, you would have been up 34.48%. So it's a stark contrast now from the stocks that we've also mentioned on the previous video. Majority of them have been down. Majority of them have been massively battered. So some of them, 6-year period, they've been down still. No signs of reversal, versus this one, it may not be the most impressive one, but better that it's still up. Especially if you notice, the index from 2013, May 2013, hit 7.4. If you judge it from where we are now, RRHI beat the index in the same measuring period. Then, next one, we have another consumption stock. This one, the first one came from the department store or the supermarket where stuff gets sold. This one is the one that's being sold in the department store or the supermarket or the convenience store. Talking about CNPF. CNPF basically essentially tuna, Blue Bay Tuna, Argentina, Swift. They also have some dairy products. They also have 555. So the IPO was 2014. The IPO price was 13.75 pesos per share. But I placed 9.8 here to factor in the stock divs that they would give. So normally when you look at the charts also, you would normally see the stock adjust based on the divs that they would give. So if you look at the stock charts today, you won't see 13.75 as the first price for CNPF, because the charts normally adjust every time SROs are given, every time new shares are given, or even stock dividends are given as well. That being said, factoring in the stock dividends, the highest point of CNPF was 18.47 pesos. As of today, 14.2 pesos per share. You would still be up 44.9. So not bad as compared to other stocks that I've mentioned that did an IPO that were relatively down as well. So we now have two stocks that are following our consumption-driven economy, because at the end of the day, and I've been mentioning this in so many videos that we've been talking about, the Philippine economy is still a consumption-driven economy, that as it's a consumption-driven economy, as long as Filipinos will spend, the economy will move up. Third stock, another consumption stock, it IPO'd the 2013. I'm talking about CIC. CIC basically is refrigerators and air conditioners, and I had the chance not to meet the CEO during the IPO. This is me. Look at the hair. This was before Talas days. Look at the chubbiness also. But I had the chance to meet the CEO, and I asked the CEO a couple of questions. Number one, I asked him what's their upside. They said remittances. Aside from remittances, they also said that look at all of the construction around. If you look at the construction around, you will see that as condos are being built, that's what the CEO told me was their upside. Every time you build and see more condos, all of those condos would need refrigerators, air conditioners, etc. And CIC, Carrier Condura, was the market leader, meaning a large chunk of those buildings and condominiums would need their products. So the IPO was 2013. IPO price was 26. Then they gave out dividends, stock dividends. It diluted the number of shares it increased the number of shares, so it diluted the value. So we're bringing it to 20.8 pesos per share. That being said, the highest price is 66.84. From that time, it has already corrected to where we are today. So it has already corrected more than half. For those who are checking the charts of this as well while I'm enumerating, as you notice it, CIC is not the most liquid stock, so this is not really for trading per se. It's really more for people who want to invest in it as well. Current price is 31.6. Nonetheless, if you still followed it through from the IPO date, you would have been up 51.92% still. So by the way, for this video, I'm going to show you a couple of pictures from the CEOs that I've met that are mainly connected to the company as well. Next one, GT Capital. This is one of the larger IPOs. Now, this is basically Metrobank, FMIC, Toyota, and all of the other subsidiaries under the George T Group. This IPO was on 2012. The IPO price was 455. And I'd like to point this out. A lot of people didn't want to buy this during the IPO because they said taas naman ang price, di yata to sulit bilhin. But please remember, the name of the game is that's why you need to know valuations, because valuations is not about the price, it's about the price in conjunction to the earnings or what the earnings could be. So please remember, if you want to be an investor, don't just buy because of the price, buy because of the valuations and how it relates to the price as well. A lot of people didn't want to buy this because they wanted to buy the stock that was 1 peso, 2 peso, 5 pesos, 10 pesos, only to see this also go up almost triple. GT Cap went to as high as 1,434. After that period of time also, it has started to correct. The current price as of today is at 833 pesos. Nonetheless, if you held on to it, you would have been up 83%. So that's how amazing it is. Now, if you notice, we currently have 3 consumption stocks and then 1 conglomerate. And if you notice that also, even GT Cap is very, very, very large as well. Good companies normally go up over time. Next, the next company was considered to be small at that time. It didn't have the large projects that it now has. No, I'm talking about Megawide, M-Wide. IPO was 2011. At that point in time when they were doing the IPO, everyone just knew that Megawide was highly connected to most of the condominiums that were built by SMDC, that they were the ones doing the construction for SMDC. But a lot they've already expanded. As you all know, M-Wide is now the one who built the Terminal 2 of Mactan Airport. They're the one operating it also. If you also look at it, they're the ones building also the new terminal that will be in Clark as well. So M-Wide IPO'd at 7.84 pesos per share. The highest price is 23.8 pesos. Similar to the other stocks that I've mentioned, most of them have started to correct already. As you've noticed also, majority of the stocks, not just the ones that have been IPO'd during the durations we're trying to study, but a lot have already either retraced, moved sideways, or have started to correct as well. So the current price as of today is 18.5 pesos per share. So that being said, the stock has been up 136% since the IPO date as well. Next one. This next stock is also connected to consumption. It's also connected to disposable income. It's also connected to the BPO industry. It's also connected to remittances. It's also connected to the property development industry. And I had a video about this during the IPO date, and I gave my thoughts about it. I'm talking about Wilcott. This was a 2017 IPO, 5.05 pesos per share. By the way, comment below if you want me to make a video comparing Wilcott and All Home. Comment Wilcott versus All Home if you want me to make a video about it. And then if you want me to, I'll make a video about it. But if there's a lot of people interested, comment Wilcott versus All Home and then I'll make a video. I made a video about this during the IPO, and I said that majority of the proceeds of the IPO will go to expansion. And as you all know, I'm a big fan of companies who use the money for expansion, because if they use their money for expansion, it means that it will create more shareholder value because it allows the company to grow more, it allows the company to get bigger, and you want a company that's growing, you want a company that's getting bigger. From 5.05 pesos as an IPO, it has more than tripled its price. It has hit 17.42 pesos per share already. That being said, the stock is up 215% since the IPO, even though it has corrected to 15.92 pesos per share. Next one, another consumption stock. If you notice, the ones, and if you compare the IPOs that we had over the past 7-8 years, the ones that didn't do as well versus the ones that have done as well, if you compare the stocks that were in that category versus our category now, there's more consumption stocks that have done well as compared to the ones that have not done as well. Wilcott is a consumption stock, hybrid also, but highly connected to property development. The next one is another consumption stock and one of my favorites. It's Pure Gold. The IPO was 2011. IPO price was 12.5 pesos per share. This is my picture with Wilcott, the owner of the company. A lot of people don't know him, but for those who know, you know how he looks. Sobrang simple. From the IPOs that from the CEOs that I've met, he's one of the most simple. Medyo simple lang on the way they conduct their business and the way they would also dress up as well. So the IPO was basically a pure expansion play. They wanted to build 25 new Pure Gold stores the next year. So by 2012, they were able to do that. And aside from them being able to do that, they were able to buy SNR in the process. So from 12.5, Pure Gold hit as high as 54 pesos per share. It now has corrected. The stock had a large red candle today. For those who are following charts, I'll try to make a stocks by request session naman based off that. Comment below if you want me to make a video based on the charts of Pure Gold. But the stock has corrected heavily already from the high of 54. Today it's at 40.3 pesos per share. Nonetheless, the stock is still up 222.4% from the IPO price. So for those who've held the stock longer, congratulations, you're still doing it massively well. Next, another one that has moved up massively. This is somehow connected to chemicals, and it's connected to service. It's a B2B company. A lot of people don't know it, but you would know their clients as well. So this is a proxy to consumption. I'm talking about DNL. The IPO was 2012. The IPO price, again, this is adjusted. The IPO was around 4.3 pesos per share, but they did stock divs of around half. So factoring that in, you have 2.15 pesos IPO price. The highest that it has ever hit is 12.2 pesos per share. The lowest that the stock already has corrected massively from the highs. The stock is at 8.97. The price factoring in the IPO up until today is at 8.97, giving you a 317% gain. Now we're down to our last two stocks. Just to recap, you have RRHI 34.48, CNPF 44.9, CIC 51.92, GT Cap at 83%, Megawide at 136%, Wilcott at 215%, then Pure Gold at 222.4%, and TNL at 317%. Can anyone guess who do you think the last two companies are? Comment below if you know what it is. I'm talking about Double Dragon. We now have a property development company / connected also to consumption, because Double Dragon basically is our condominiums, the Hotel 101, which is a condotel / city malls, which is a proxy also to consumption. Please remember, this was a relatively smaller IPO. Since it's a smaller IPO, normally smaller IPOs move fast. This is also a pure expansion play. They use the money to build capital for their malls and their condos as well. So This was one of the most hyped up, most talked about stocks in 2014. The stock went from 2 all the way up to 80 intraday, but it closed at 70 pesos per share. So if you held the stock at 2 and sold it intraday at 80 pesos per share, the stock would have hit, you would have had a 3,000% gain. I created a video about that person who bought at 2, held its way up to 80 pesos per share. The stock though, from its highs way back, has already corrected massively. So the current price at 19.84 still gives you a 892% gain still for the stock. So please remember, this is one of the most, I guess in terms of gains, in terms of massive movements, this has moved up the highest. Here's my picture with their CEO in Job C as well. Very, very inspiring guy. For those who don't know him, people know him about Double Dragon already, but what they don't know is he's the guy behind Mang Inasal, sold 70% of it at 3 billion pesos, and that's what he used. That's what he used to start Double Dragon as a company as well. So there. Lastly, we're off to the last stock. I'm talking about Golden Haven. Golden Haven IPO at 2016. At the IPO date, they were just basically a memorial plan company where people who would move on and pass on would have to rest and dun linilipin yung mga tao. IPO price was at 10.5. This was one of the largest breakouts, especially last year. I remember that because I was in London at that time when the stock started to move up. As of this point in time, the highest price that Golden Haven has hit was 449.8 pesos per share, because one of the things that caused, I guess, interest on it was they thought it would be part of the third telco move. But what people did not know was the move was they just changed their business into a property development company as well. I don't have a picture with Manny Villar. I was able to meet Paulo Villar a few years back, but this one is a picture of Mark Villar. I guess this is the closest that I have picture-wise to the Villar family as well. Anyways, that being said, the stock has corrected also to 435 pesos per share, but among the stocks that IPO'd since 2011, I did not include KPWealth yet because KPWealth is relatively new. So Golden Haven, Golden Ria has one of the largest upsides and one of the largest movements over that stretch period of time with 4,043%. So that being said, we have KPWealth as the first IPO that has been released. Who do you think, based on the 6 IPOs that we will have in the year, will have a large movement up? Please remember some of the rules of thumb. The smaller the IPO, the larger the volatility, the larger the moves. Similar to what happened to KPWealth, which moved from 5 to way above 25 all the way to where it is right now. The next that's smaller is around 1 billion by Frutas, then followed by Axelum at 5 billion. Then I think it will be Calcom if it will be around 10 billion. Then All Home, then followed by the very, very, very large IPO of Metro Pacific, the hospital unit of Metro Pacific Investment. So just comment below if you learned a lot from this. Comment below that you will notice it, that the narrative is stocks move in different directions, stocks move differently, that you also, the responsibility is up to you, that you really have to pick the ones that are good. You have to know how to differentiate what the winners are and the losers are. That's why if you're a long-term investor, you need to know the fundamentals very, very well, because you can't really use charts here yet, and you can't trade it. You can't, since the charts will come out when there's a good steady number of price points already that technicals can spot and give you candlesticks for you to be able to trade. So if you're a long-term investor, you have to know the companies that you're buying. Don't just buy it because you think it's lower. Buy it because the valuations are telling you it's cheap. But don't just buy because it's cheap. You want to buy it with a good potential of growth for the future, because all IPOs are priced at a premium. So a couple of things, comment below if you have more questions about the IPO, and I'll try to make a general IPO video as well to address those questions. Comment below if you would buy Axelium, Frutas, All Home, Calcom, or MPI, or you think nothing will be able to beat the movement of KPWealth for the year. So there. So did you guys enjoy the video? Based on this, based on the data, does it give you also a larger shroud of conviction to buy the stocks, to buy IPOs that you think are very, very good? Did you see the common denominator among the stocks also that were doing well as compared to the stocks that were not doing so well? If you notice, the difference, there were a lot of stocks over the past 8 years that have dropped more after the IPO than the ones that did a better job after the IPO as well. So as you notice also, the stocks that do well are not as much compared to the ones that don't do so well. That's why what's nice about fundamentals is you already get to see which stocks are okay, which stocks are not okay, and then you get to double down and you get to zero down on the ones that are good and okay as well. So I guess that's it for now. I will be in Qatar next week, then I will be in Cebu over the next few weeks as well for our sessions on StockSmart's technical and fundamental analysis. Then on November and December, November I'll be in Singapore for technical analysis. Then December, we will close the year with technical fundamentals and our top 10 stocks for 2020. The links are down below for those who want to join us for our events. For those who want to grab a copy of my books, the links are down below as well. And I hope this video gives you, I guess, a good mix, no, of analysis, whether IPOs are good or not. This is a good balance, also telling you on what are you supposed to buy and hold for the long term. So this is Marvin Germo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all.